Hello and welcome back to another week in my life as a young female founder and what I learned this week. If you don't know me, I'm Elizabeth. I built a business on my laptop and now I travel the world. I'm currently in Koh Phangan in the south of Thailand, and I just want to talk you through some of the things that I've learned, and if you're also a young female founder, then these lessons might be interesting for you to think about this week and to pay attention to. So let's just get right into it. So something I've been thinking about a lot this week is about how having actually a supportive community has helped me take more risks in my business, because 2 years ago when I was running a different business, I felt very risk averse in a way because I didn't have a support system. I didn't have anyone to talk to if things went badly. So that meant that everything just fell on me, right? I didn't feel equipped to handle every single bad thing that happened in my business alone, so I tried to avoid them. So I was too scared to pitch for big things. I was too scared to announce big launches, because if I failed or if it flopped, I would have to, just sit there on my own and try and talk myself back up and try and survive the whole thing on my own. Whereas now in Jenny Girls Club, I'm surrounded by so many people that support me and that are there for me. And in some of even in my personal life, in some of the moments where I feel a little bit unsure, a little bit insecure, having business friends that I know that I can lean on is actually the basis of me taking bigger risks. It actually makes me feel supported enough to want to take bigger risks and to go out and get more stuff, because I know that I have a support system and a place to recoup when things go bad. And I think that that's happened to a lot of the girls in the club as well, where they've not had the launch that they wanted, or they something's not really gone that right, or they are just at a loss. And when we all jump on a call together, it's not just the advice that we give, but it's also just listen, this has happened to me, this is okay, things don't work, let's unpack it, we're here for you. And I've always described it as the feeling in the club is definitely the feeling of, getting all of your best friends crawling into bed under the covers together after you've gone through a breakup. It's so cozy and so supportive and so uplifting. That's been particularly prominent this week, that when I go to take big risks, or when I feel insecure, or when something is going badly in business, I have those girls that I think about that are my business friends that I know are there for me, and that support, that it's not just me, actually allows me to go for bigger things. And a lot of the time those bigger things actually do pay off. It's just that I know that when they don't, I'm held in a way that I wasn't before when I was just a solo founder. And it makes such a big difference. It makes such a big difference for your risk tolerance. And I think that risk tolerance is something that we should aim to grow as founders. And a lot of that comes actually from the support system that we have and the support that we feel we can fall back on if something doesn't go right, which it inevitably will. I genuinely just think that having the right friends in business makes you so much more resilient than you realise. And I think that resilience is actually the thing that allows us to take bigger risks and bigger swings in our business. And it's not to be messed with. Investing in that genuine support circle and that genuine friendship is actually the best investment that I could have possibly made for my business, because the very fact that I am supported means that I can go out there and ask for higher rates, pitch bigger deals, go for things that I wouldn't go for if I had to hold the fear of embarrassment and failure and, resilience all on my own. The right friendships and the right communities as a young female founder, because feeling supported and feeling part of a community is such a big part of being a successful female founder. The other thing that's happened to me a lot this week is that I've been flip-flopping on all of my offers. So last week we obviously talked about how I want to launch this one-to-one thing, and I do want to launch the one-to-one thing. But there's a balance of the things that are important to me, right? I want to get really deep into people's problems, and I also want, say, to scale my offers, make more money, and not necessarily invest more time, right? Because the reason that I'm reducing the one-to-ones after this intake in the club, by the way, we're opening our doors in 2 weeks from now. We're only taking on 10 people. One person's actually already reserved their spot. So if you're interested, you'll probably want to be on the wait list. So that's on the website. But if you want to be on the wait list and be the first to know when we open the doors, then you've got a couple of little perks that go along with that, so I would check that out. Oh yeah, so there's a couple of reasons why this one-to-one offer stood out to me specifically, right, is the fact that it's a lot more higher leverage in terms of income, it's a lot higher impact, and it's less time investment than what I'm currently doing with the one-to-ones, right? So it's like the hour to money ratio is different than the current setup that I have with the club, which isn't going anywhere. I'm just saying that I wanted to sort of like have more businesses where the ratio of time to money is different. Because I think that's how you create a lot of leverage, that's how you create a lot of diversification in your income, and that's how you create security, in my opinion. So all of those things considered, I'd been sort of like, if you don't know, I also obviously have a large audience on LinkedIn, 56,000 people. I also do brand deals on that, right? So there's this, recently, I haven't really done that many brand deals. And if I'm being completely honest, I think I've actually just become complacent. Like I got used to the brand deals that I had and also how they were paying. And it just seemed like a lot of effort to try and get new ones. And I had convinced myself that all this effort that I was putting in to reaching out to people, which was not a lot, I'll be honest, was not worth it in terms of like, you know, brand deals were just one-offs, or they were, you know, like short-term partnerships, and they weren't really like the long-term security that I was looking for. And also, of course, I think the other important part of this is that the thing with brand deals is that you are obviously posting a little bit more like an influencer. Is that a book? No. You're posting a little bit more like an influencer, and that doesn't necessarily help your business, but then also every single post that I do that drives people to sign up to the waitlist, every single post that I do that gets people interested in the club is actually pouring back into me, right? But then I got a brand deal last week that was the highest paying brand deal I've ever had, and it literally just landed in my inbox. I negotiated it, I negotiated the contract, it was done, and then it just sort of reminded me what the income ceiling is really for brand deals, and it is so high. Like the time to income ratio on that is just insanity, right? Because like I would say it takes me an hour to write a LinkedIn post. Like I do genuinely put effort into them, and I try to actually sort of like write an essay and then cut it down rather than just writing whatever. Because I do genuinely care a lot about writing stuff that is compelling. Like I do that anyway. Like all of my LinkedIn posts take me ages to write. They're not just like thrown out there. That's what my audience maybe appreciates about the content that I post, so that's important to me. But still, like, I'm spending an hour and I've made maybe half or maybe 2/3 of what I would have wanted to make from a one-to-one like coaching client, but I haven't done 10 hours worth of calls with them. I've done an hour worth of writing, and that is a really, really like that's just insanely compelling to me. Like that is just insanely, when it comes to diversification of my income, like that is just a no-brainer, right? And that sort of like reframed what I think I should be doing in terms of like how often should I be posting on LinkedIn. I'd reduced that a lot, but I'm like, now it just got back into my brain and was like, okay, if actually this other thing is easier to do in terms of time investment, but then also higher leverage, and it's also big corporations that are paying me and not like, you know, the individual female founder. That's not to say that I don't want to still do the one-to-one. It's just that when it comes to where I should be focusing my efforts right now, based on the income goal I'm trying to hit, how am I gonna get that, right? But it was just really funny because my light page like totally called me out and was like, you don't need to choose between two. And I'm falling into this trap that every single new piece of data, every new like signal that I get seems like it's suddenly the truth of the matter revealing itself. It's like, if I get a good brand deal, then it's like, oh, you know, I should totally be working on this, I should totally be going for this. But then if I, you know, pitching the one-to-one stuff to a couple of people and them saying no, it's like, oh, well, clearly this offer isn't working. And then getting a brand deal means like, oh, well, clearly brand deals are more lucrative. But then if I get turned down from a brand deal, then it's like, oh, well, they're not reliable and I'm still working for someone else. So it's just this constant like flip-flopping, right? And what I've sort of learned out of this experience is that you don't necessarily have to flip-flop. It's all part of one ecosystem. Like, I know that Alex Hormozi talks a lot about having one offer, right? And I really do agree with that to a certain extent. But he also still creates content, right? Like, so I think there's an element of, can you get your content ecosystem to also funnel back into you. And if you have the opportunity to do brand deals that are aligned in the ones that you want to go for, then all of them can be part of your offer stack. All of them can be part of the business that you're running, and not deciding which one to put your focus on, because they all feed into each other in a way. Like, I do think that me getting brand deals is also an element or a sell to the club. In the club, we do a content lab every single month where it's like I help people write content for LinkedIn, and a lot of it is focused on growth, on audience, on, you know, how to grow bigger so that you can also make this extra income stream, because that is the thing that I'm well versed in, right? So yeah, there's this other element to it where I think I've learned that every single new piece of information is not the signal to start flipping in the other direction, actually going for this. All just signals to continue to keep going. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, like, don't abandon the direction that you're going in just because you're getting new information. Like, new information needs to become like a pattern before you allow it to change your trajectory or influence the direction that you're going. Because it's just shiny object syndrome in disguise, essentially, and we need to be careful of that, and we need to continue going in the right direction. Like, brand deals are cool for the lifestyle and stuff like that, and again, you know, they are, in terms of time investment, the most high leverage. But when it comes to long-term reputation and legacy and impact, and also the stuff that really lights me up, the one-to-one stuff is still really prominent. And that's aside from the club, right? The club goes without saying. So if you're in that situation, I'd love for you to ask yourself, like, is this new piece of data actually changing the trajectory, or is it just influencing how I feel? Because basically, like, you're creating a reactive strategy that is based on a singular result here and there, which results in, like, constant redirecting without any, like, clear direction. So yeah, just keep that in mind, and that's something that I've definitely learned this week. Okay, so the other thing that I learned this week was actually, it was just like a little habit thing that I caught myself doing, right? Because I've been wanting to build myself a business dashboard for ages. And I knew that I wanted to do it in, like, Claude Code. I wanted to get it all set up. Like, I want all of my business stuff to be consolidated in one place. And when I made that decision, I was like, I know what I need to do next. Like, I need to go and download Claude Code and start, like, building it and learning it, right? And it's so funny because I knew that that was just the next step. Like, I had to do that. But because that was just, like, a little bit too clean of a decision, my brain was like, oh, well, I should probably, like, delete a load of stuff off my computer so that it runs faster, and I should probably, like, clean up my desktop, and I should probably, you know, all these other things that I thought I needed to do as prerequisites to the thing that I knew was the next step that would actually get me to where I wanted to go. And I thought it was really interesting, and I was talking to my light page about it, and I was like, it's so interesting to me that I know what the next step is, but now I've given myself, like, 4 other pieces of homework that I need to do before I take this next step. And I'm noticing it a lot with a lot of people, where it's like you're accidentally getting yourself into a situation where you know that the next thing that you need to do is so clear and it's so easy that almost it feels like you've not earned it in a way. Like, it feels like it would be too easy. And therefore, to feel like you've really struggled towards this goal, or you feel like you've really, like, put in 100% of your effort, to feel like you deserve to actually get this outcome, you have to do these 4 other things as well. And I think that we're getting stuck a lot in the thinking and the preparing for the thing rather than just doing the thing. Like say, I'm a big imperfectionist as it is. Like, I'm a very, like, last minute kind of person, in the sense of, like, I will literally ram my laptop full of crap until I physically cannot do anything anymore, and that's when I'll deal with it. Or, like, when I've got an unread email in my inbox, I will wait until the follow-up for it to become urgent enough for me to reply to it. And I think that sometimes that is, you know, a little bit detrimental. But I think overall it's better than stalling all of the things that I actually want to do for the sake of doing all these little admin bits for everyone else and doing all these little things that actually don't make that big of an impact before they're actually necessary. And, like, it's just this idea of, like, staying on top of things and clearing the decks, as Oliver Burkeman would say. If you've not read Meditations for Morsels by Oliver Burkeman, I highly, highly recommend it, because it reframes a lot of these ways that we try to add more to our plates to feel worthy as human beings. And I think that that is like the other thing, is like this idea of how many things do you have to do just for the sake of feeling like you've earned the thing that you want as an outcome. So that was another thing for me, is like, stop giving yourself more and more homework and just do the thing that will actually get you to where you want to go, because it does get to be that easy, and you're not any less worthy of the end result if it was easy. The leverage is almost always in the thing that you're putting second, not the thing that you're putting first. And I just want you to go through this next week thinking about how much of this prep is actually just putting off the actual action, and how much preparation has actually replaced the action that you need to be taking. Because preparation's a fucking killer, man. Like, it just doesn't make sense after a certain point to prepare for something. Like, you can prepare for a job interview, but you can prepare to a certain degree for a launch, but nothing will give you more information than actually just doing the thing and doing it scrappily and really just iterating and iterating. But you can only iterate on something that is live. Otherwise, you are just stalling, right? It's like there's two really distinct differences, I feel, between preparing and, saying you're wanting to launch something, but on the one hand, you're iterating and iterating on the thing that's not been launched yet. That is stalling. Whereas, like, on the other hand, over here, if you've launched something and it's live out there in the world and then you're iterating, that's improvement. This is stalling, this is improvement. And I think we get the two mixed up. So I think pay attention to that this week, especially if you're currently in like a launch or a growth phase. Just pay attention to whether you're stalling and prepping or whether you're actually iterating, because those are two different things. And then the final thing, which sort of builds on top of that actually, is this idea that I've been obsessed with recently that I say coined. It's just how it came to me, was this idea of like anti-progress, right? So like, we feel like making progress is always about what we're going to do next, like the steps forward, the things that we've added to our to-do list to get us further ahead. But sometimes, like, anti-progress to me is about what you can cut away and what you can decide to stop doing, U-turn on, decide to can. Those things are still progress. Those things are still you moving forward. If you decide that actually this thing that I was going to launch, I'm going to forget about that for a bit, like, you've still moved forward. You've not taken a step backwards. You've actually just gotten yourself one step closer to going where you want to go without having added things to your list. Like, the more things that you can strip away to get to where you want to go, that's like the anti-progress, basically. I feel like as founders, we feel quite guilty about like pivots and about U-turns and about, like reducing our offers or streamlining things just in general, because it doesn't feel or look like we're building something. But sometimes improvement isn't necessarily like about what you're adding. And I think that's also like another Alex Hormozy point, basically, is like, how do you trim and stack your offers, right? It's like, how do you make it the most valuable thing that it can be without adding stuff? Which I think is kind of a crazy concept. Is like, how do you reduce something down to its core value so that, one, it's more of a no-brainer, because someone doesn't have to be like, well, I don't need that, I don't need that, I don't need that. It's just the one thing that they do need. And yeah, even though it doesn't feel like we're building something, we're actually improving, and that is still progress, right? So yeah, progress isn't necessarily always like additive. Sometimes it's actually subtractive, and that's kind of freeing in a way as well. So yeah, that's basically like what I learned this week as a female founder. Shout out to my little journal for recapping my week every single week, and shout out also obviously to the girls in the club who have given me a lot of food for thought this week, as per usual. And yeah, if you're interested in Journey Girls Club and joining our like-minded female founder community, all the links will be below. Let me know what you learned this week and what has been on your mind, because I'd love to be able to learn from you as well. But yeah, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week. Bye.